dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming.
Politricks ain't nothing but a trick. This time we got enough to make your head spin. A rapist Klansman and a Demakin, the newest white men for occupied Turtle Island. In so-called Cali, we got tons of legislations filled to the brim with anti-poor people domination. Prop 1, if we houseless, we are done. Care courts ensnare. Anti-social workers don't care. Steal our tents even more. Our houseless bodies? No longer human, we merely a dumpster score. Prop F in Frisco stands for what the fuck? Stealing our meager crumbs unless we submit to a test. It's too much, so many will say. Leaving more of us on the street, unhoused, every damn day. So this podcast from a poverty scholar goes out to all my confused poverty scholars and my conscious folks with a roof who know something ain't right. I need to drop some poverty scholar knowledge on some of these ballot initiatives that will mess us poor folks up even more than we already are. Legislations, I call them. Loaded with and cloaked in so much doublespeak you may not be able to untangle the truth from the BS, so I'm just going to focus on two of them. Prop 1 for houseless people are done. That's Cali statewide. And Prop F for FU poor people with substance use struggles. And also for everybody listening, if you're thinking about not voting, please do. And if in California we have the uncommitted, please vote for Palestine by hitting that uncommitted box. But no matter what, even if you don't think it matters, your vote matters for local and state, no matter what you think about the rest. So the propaganda on Prop 1 comes up with this insane tagline, treatment not tense, saying it's going to refocus billions of dollars in existing funds to prioritize Californians with the deepest mental health needs, living in encampments, or suffering the worst substance use issues. Well, that's interesting, because first of all, I want my damn tent back. But the facts are, Prop 1 will codify, legislate, and demand forced treatment of houseless people's bodies, period. Prop 1 will support the arrests, tent, belonging, and medicine seizure of houseless people, most of whom are elder, disabled bodies and communities. And FYI, I don't use the word encampment because it means a military industrial complex propaganda. Anyhow, Prop 1 would impose a new $6.4 billion, as I did say billion-dollar bond to primarily fund forced treatment and institutionalization. So if we refuse their shelter beds, we end up incarcerated. And finally, Prop 1 will divert money from beautiful education, art, after-school, and support services for youth and elders that keep us poor people from becoming part of the isolation nation, abused, depressed, alone, which oftentimes lead to our homelessness. Notwithstanding the idiotic Prop 1 tagline, treatment not tense, they are already violently and endlessly sweeping us houseless humans like we're trash all over so-called California and the United Snakes. And if you don't believe me, listen to OG poverty scholar warrior Paul Bowden on the last Poor People's Revolutionary Radio podcast of last week. He breaks it down that they're already using all this money for care court. And this is just a pretense, another layer on the lie. So no, there's not going to be more housing built. Anywho, for this poverty scholar Newsom's Politricks on the backs of the poor, is nothing new. He literally became Frisco's Politrickster in charge by pimping houseless people's struggles, causing this poverty scholar to lose my measly cash crumb that helped me and my mama and my son be housed with his infamous legislation, Care Not Cash, which demanded that poor people pay for their shelter beds again instead of receive the little bit of money we were getting for toiletries, medicine, and oftentimes even rent, which is what our situation was. Care courts were another Newsom plan, adding an additional layer of so-called more user-friendly court systems directed at poor people, which haven't led to more treatment or beds, but instead have funneled a lot of money to anti-social workers, judges, non-profiteers, and the injustice system. Shouting out to my sister Leger, who just came out of that, and they lied about her test results multiple times. So their system is flawed, and it's an overreach. The sixth sad part is every settler town in occupied Turtle Island has multiple legislations, laws, and codes already on the books, new and old as the pauper and the ugly laws that adjudicate our lives when we're outside. In a recent Ruthless Radio interview I did with Comrade General Dogon from LA Community Action Network in Towangar, LA, he broke down the insanity of LA's new tent-taking law 4118. He clearly stated 4118, this mayor doesn't let you set up a tent in LA. So what happens? You have people sleeping without any blankets or covers or protection right out in the street. Because guess what? Like Mama used to say, you can evict me and sweep me. It doesn't mean I'm going to leave. And then if a poverty scholar I know needs substance use treatment or a home, I would never refer them to care court. I will get to work referring them to my underground system of grassroots advocates and what we at Poor Magazine call revolutionary love workers. Shout out to my sister Junebug Kialoha, Manna from Heavens, Diane, and Sister Omawale, Auntie Frances Moore, and the Self-Help Hunger Program, and all of us warriors at Poor Magazine and Homefulness, just to name a few, the real workers out there. And shout out to our warrior comrades at Wood Street Commons, Jazz and Monty and John and Freeway and so many more. So yeah, let's not get it twisted. And as beautiful sister Crystal Rose Sanchez from Sacramento Homeless Union put it, Prop 1 is just the next block in the structure that they've already been building to force people into internment, out of sight, out of mind, where they can continue to collect the money off the backs of the poor. So yeah, please vote no on Prop 1, and please get to the voting booths to vote that no. Also, I just want to shout out that there are solutions that poor people create ourselves, like Homefulness, like Wood Street Commons, Nicholsville in so-called Washington State, Etna Street down in Towangar, LA, Camp Revolution. These are solutions created by houseless, neurodivergent, disabled people. They're informed by poverty scholarship and our own overstanding of each other's lives and struggles. But these settler governments refuse to listen. They refuse to see any way but their own incarceration nation. Why? Because it's a job. Let's not get it twisted, relatives. Prop 1 is a cash cow, and we'll make sure that us houseless folks are done. The last legislation I want to touch on is Proposition F for FU, low, no-income substance users. Hey, London Breed, have you ever heard of harm reduction? Oh, my God. So the Politrickster propaganda on Proposition F for FU would require anyone who receives CAP benefits to be screened for substance use disorder if the city reasonably suspects the person to be dependent on legal drugs. whatever. When screening indicates a recipient may be dependent on illegal drugs, the city will provide a professional evaluation and may refer the recipient to an appropriate treatment program. Now, relatives, the operative word in that bullshit paragraph was may. There isn't appropriate treatment programs out there. They're already scarce. And the may is because there isn't going to be any support in the system to take care of people. All they're going to do is cut you off. Secondly, this is a racist, classist, ableist invasion of privacy that is literally targeting poor people openly and transparently. Even though hella rich people take hella drugs with their paycheck, but oh wow, because we're poor, we have to beg for this little crumb from the institution. Well, we deserve all the exposure and abuse and invasive actions and tests that we get because you're getting that crash crumb. So let's not get it twisted. The majority of people seeking the cash crumb are people of color, disabled people, and houseless people. And the cash grant itself keeps a lot of people who happen to also be substance users housed. So more of us will be on the street. And then once again, I got to ask, have you heard of harm reduction, London Breed? There are beautiful, amazing warrior survivors of substance use who are working their harm reduction programs and thriving and surviving. No, they wouldn't pass these tests. So let's get it clear. Those folks oftentimes who are low income will become houseless when, not if, they fail those tests. In closing, I just got to say, no matter how many times you sweep me, jail me, or count me, it doesn't give me a home. If you want to read a more extended version of this report, you can go to www.poormagazine.org and look up Poverty Scholars, Politricks to Roundup, or listen to Poor People's Radio last week with Paul Bowden, OG Poverty Scholar. Till next time, please vote and please stay strong, because ain't no power like the power of the people, and the power of the people won't stop. Shout out to Auntie Francis. Oh.
That I reap what I done sow. Hey, hey. Well, let me tell you something. All that glitters ain't gold.